Women are much better investors than men, and I have proof. You ever look at a decision and go, that's going to have teeth? Thanks for liking, subscribing. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being a part of At Bud Ford Comedy. YDM. Do you know what that is? And should normal folks like me and you be worried? Probably. Now, the title of the article is Fidelity Spots a Stunning Money Trend Among Women. And I thought, this is not a trend. Women build wealth. Men will invest in a story they heard at a gas station. Then I saw the study, and it confirmed that women outperform men in investing. We're not even playing the same game. We're not even on the same field because women invest. Men, well, we gamble with confidence. Kind of the same, but a little different. Women will diversify their portfolio. Men, I heard about a story from a friend of mine over at the coffee shop. That means he heard it at a gas station on Sunday where they sat around and drank beer, knowing you can't sell alcohol on Sunday around here, but that doesn't mean they can't sit in there and spend a lot of money extra to drink it and then start telling stories about investments and stuff. And then they come home 3 beers in and we're all like, no research, we're all in. Blind faith. Women think first, men act. Then we explain it later, right? That's our system. Women manage money. Men manage optimism. You ever work around folks like that? So if I go into a sales call, I'm talking to somebody about something based, whatever it is, whether, let's make it up, it's tires. We're selling tires like back when I was young. If they said, hey, I'm going to go home, check out some stuff, I want to do some math to make sure it fits, I figure we're probably about a 25% opportunity. Who knows by the time they walk out, right? But there's other people that are almost too optimistic. You say hello to them, and they're basically looking at you from across the room going, I'm going to close this when it's over. Like, bro, they're looking for the bathroom. They're getting some stuff done in the shop. Like, it's that kind of optimism. It's men. It's, I got a feeling, which is not really a strategy. It's how you end up having to explain things, right? Investing isn't about exciting. It's about not being stupid. And historically, that's not really what men are good at. We're pretty good at being stupid. My name is Bud Ford. Thanks for spending time with me today. When I started my life, I wanted to be on the radio. That's really all I wanted to do. Actually, truth is, I wanted to be funny, and I wanted to perform in front of people, but I didn't want the lifestyle that working comedy clubs provided back in those days. So what I did was radio and then on to television, became a meteorologist, that kind of thing. And now I'm going back to the clubs because there's not as much on the line and it's a little more fun, when you're not starving to death. But working in country radio, I got a chance to work in Nashville for a while, and I got a chance to be around the whole process for a minute. Country music doesn't follow trends. It copies homework, just changes the name at the top of the paper. Then I saw some stuff on country music trends. And like I said, I've been there. I've been in those listening rooms. I've been in demo sessions. If you've never been in a demo session, it's kind of an interesting experience. So there'll be 400 or 500, the label will send over 400 or 500 singles that people are looking to get published. And they have them in a demo sing of some sort, some varying level of demo. The better the demo, the more likely it is to get picked up. So demos used to cost money because you'd spend money, or you had to know someone that could pull that off. We didn't have the equipment so readily accessible then like we do today. So you could sit, I remember I sat in a bus with Stephen Cochran one afternoon. We sat all afternoon listening to music and trying to figure out what was going to be on the next album. The whole day I probably listened to 300, maybe 400 songs. And at the end of the day, it was really weird because I felt like I had a song or two in me. And I went home that very afternoon and I sat down and I wrote 2 songs complete in their entirety. And they're actually not bad. I had a guy do the demos on them, and then I had them just kind of sitting around for a while. Some folks, maybe they wanted to pitch them, maybe they didn't. No One Fell in Love, but that's fine. That's the first two songs I've ever written. And I have never written, nor have I had any interest in writing since. But sitting that afternoon, I was able to come up with a couple of songs out of all of that I could write, and I'm not a writer. So what happens in those sessions is you're looking for the gold, and then you kind of begin to get it all blurred. And here's what I'm wondering about demo sessions now, because back then, for me to get a song, like if I write a good song and I want to get it in front of your production company or your label or a specific artist, well, back then I had to do something about getting it produced. I don't sing. That's not my thing. I barely write. Not even sure I'm good at that, but I certainly don't sing. So what am I going to do with that? Well, back in the day, you had somebody that either wanted to sing and would record it for you for a fee, or they were just trying to break into demo singing and they might do it for you for free. I got 2 of them done and it didn't cost me much money, but it was nice having done. I just took care of some expenses for him because that's not free work he was doing. I wonder now, though, if you have to do it, because we have all of those apps. I think Suno's one of them. They can take your voice. They can have you a song written in a few minutes about anything. How long in a few minutes? In 30 seconds about anything that will sound as country or pop or dance or however you want it to. And those things are like $10 a month. So that makes me wonder how long before the integrity of our music is completely compromised. And I say that because remember when we had the Old Town Road thing and we found out that that was just a beat and few words, and that was it. There was nothing to that, yet 30 million of them were sold or whatever. So we know that it can be very, very simple. The question is, how is it going to impact future records, future sales, future what we get to listen to? And also, we know that it's impacting the writing. If you watch any television show now, any scripted type show, and you listen to the phrasing, doesn't take you long to pick out the sections where they were influenced by AI. If you work around AI a lot, and I unfortunately wind up doing a lot of it, you start to pick up patterns in the things that they offer you. You could pick that up in our daily conversations. I'll hear somebody say something, and I'm like, chat wrote that. So that's interesting to me where we are and where music's going to evolve. Here's something else I learned in the country music business in that run. If somebody does something that hits, everyone's about to start copying it. So let's take, for instance, Faith Hill had a song called Breathe. She was a country music act. She wasn't even a star. She was at best a B level. Breathe is released, and Breathe is a pop song, and I think they sell like 14 million units on that album, somewhere in that number, because it was a very good project. That being said, 2 weeks later in the country music business, we have Martina McBride's version of that, just slowed down a little bit. I mean, words are a little different. Hey, baby. Or, exhale, I miss you. Whatever it is, it's just a little different. But there's 3 or 4 of those versions that pop onto country music programmers' desks that will sound similar, which is not stupid. I'm not saying it is, but it's interesting to watch. Also, if a writer gets a song that becomes a hit for an artist, and if they happen to get a second one, then basically everything they've ever written, including happy birthday on birthday cards, all of a sudden becomes a big deal. Then you'll have 14 songs that'll show up in your office on the next couple of months that have been written and or produced by whatever that hot person's name is, insert at the time there. I don't know if you've ever been around EDM, but do you know what EDM is? I did not, until I did just a little bit of research, and what I found out was it's not a typo. It's EDM with country words and country backbeat, and I ain't hating all the way around. I'm just not. But here's where the argument comes in. Is this country? And working in country radio and being around country music in Nashville and programming in Nashville, that question used to come and haunt me all the time. Because what's country to my mother is still country to me, but I can also respect what's country now. But now that I'm not baked in it, the newer it doesn't necessarily resonate with me, probably because I haven't spent enough time with it. But you see what I'm saying? It just kind of, where is your window? Kind of like, who's the best basketball player? Well, if you grew up in my area, you're probably going to lean towards Michael Jordan. If you're 15 years younger than me, 10 years, you probably might even say Kobe. If you're 10 years younger than that, it's definitely going to be LeBron or Curry. So it just depends on where you're at. Now, is it country? Is it still country? Is it pop? Do you even know why we have those words? Have you stopped to think about why we have to categorize music? It's because record stores have to have a place to point you. And you're like, we don't have record stores, stupid. Oh no, but when these decisions were made, we had them. And that's how those decisions were made. Country was put next to Western because Western had so few titles and sold so few records. They put them together so they could put them next to each other in the store, and we could send people to likely that same style of music. Folk would usually be right around there as well. So country and Western became a thing. So if you hear somebody old go, that's country and Western, they're not stupid. That's the way it was categorized in record stores. Now, I realize that now on Spotify, you're all like, hey, play something. It's like, okay, you like this at 2 a.m. This is your personality now. Oomch, 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 oomch. And you just deal with whatever it is, right? Nobody cares anymore what it's called. All Spotify and all algorithms care about is, does it hit? The whole thought process behind country music was, we want to keep an artist around. Now it seems maybe like it's a little more, and I'm not saying this is even wrong, but maybe it's a little more about finding the next big thing, which is the way the pop music world has always been. When you start looking at songs and charts and those kind of things, I could get off on this for days, but songs and charts, like take pop music. How many number ones does pop music have in a year? Well, back in the day, maybe 5 or 6, maybe 10 on a high year, 12. So there's 52 weeks a year. The 12 biggest songs of the year will define that year in pop. In country, not uncommon for us to have 50 number ones. 48 number ones, 40 number ones, really common. Anything above 45, still not uncommon. It's known for country music to switch them by the week. So it's just a different thought process in how the music's done and how it resonates with people. You 170 pounds of chum is what you are, stupid. You didn't chase a dream, you entered the food chain. I don't know if you saw this story, but a guy who swam 34 miles with 5,500 crocodiles. Bruh, you're not a sports hero. You are a menu item with delusional confidence. It's not really a sport, it's a misunderstanding of life. He said, I wanted to inspire people. Nope, you inspired crocodiles, stupid. 5,500 crocodiles? That's not a river, it's a group chat. I don't know where you are with swimming in things you can't see the bottom of. I used to didn't care. I grew up in South Carolina. There were alligators everywhere, but we'd jump right in a creek, lake. We didn't care. Nowadays, I don't know. I got to think about it. After spending time in the Caribbean, when you can see the bottom, if water's 40, 50 feet deep, you can still see it. I like that. I enjoy that. I don't like when I can't see what's right below my feet. Makes me nervous. Things in the water move faster than me. Crocodiles don't care who you are. They see movement and opportunity. That's it. And people joined this fool. They all got in like there was some sense of confidence because if they won't bite him, well, what makes me any different than him? Proximity. You're in a different place than he is, stupid. He just hadn't found the right one. Once he does, he's going to be dinner too. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, you know what? It's just a crocodile. It's just an alligator. It's no big deal. I see them on them videos, when they're chumming them, handing that chicken. They're like, here, boy, and he's holding it, and he's planning just to back up when the gator jumps to get the chicken. You know how fast a gator can go in short spurts? 30 miles per hour. Can you go backwards at 30 miles per hour? Depends on if the gator's coming, right? It don't. You can't. So now you've chummed the gator and it's faster than you. I do not mess with alligators. I know better. These idiots jumped in the water. And that's how you know, like I said, humans are broken. That is not inspiration. That is peer pressure with reptiles. I go on vacation, I'm just trying to survive a hotel breakfast because there's a difference between chasing a dream and being on a menu. I ain't trying to be on a menu. Thanks for your time today. My name is Bud Ford. I appreciate you following me, subscribing, all of that at Bud Ford Comedy. Have a great day.